welcome back to Tinder Wounds. I'm here today giving you another episode of Tea Time Tuesdays. Today I want to let you all know my story of how I moved to Atlanta. I get a lot of questions about how I moved. If I had a job before I left, if I had a place before I left, did I stay with friends, did I have things lined up? So I want to go ahead and put some of the questions that I commonly get in this video and let you all hear it. If you all have other questions that I didn't address in this video, drop them below. I'll definitely give you all an answer. Send me an email. If you got me on social media, slide me a DM. So first things first, a lot of people always ask me, why Atlanta? For those who don't know, originally I'm from Petersburg, Virginia. And so my mom got a job teaching in DC when I was 15. We moved to PG County, Maryland. I went to school in Baltimore. I stayed for 10 years. Yada, yada, yada. Okay? So at the end of the day, I'm a Southern girl at heart. I love the South. I love the Southern hospitality, but I didn't want to go back to Petersburg. I love the city, but I didn't want to go back to like DC area. It's just so expensive. It's just so expensive. So I still wanted that Southern atmosphere, but that city vibe. So Atlanta gives me the best of both worlds with that. I've always visited through over the years and I've had a great time. The food is good. The people are nice. It's beautiful. It's not as cheap as it used to be, but it's still affordable, especially if you're looking to buy a house soon. Also too, I know one day I want to have kids, prayerfully. I think I do, but I knew I didn't want to raise my kids in Baltimore. So it's like, why stay in Baltimore if that's not where I want to be, right? I had been wanting to move to Atlanta for a while. I finished undergrad in 2014 and I just knew after I finished at Morgan, I was going to jet down to Atlanta, but God had other plans and life happened. So I stayed back in Baltimore to take care of my legal issues, some of which I have spoken about on Tea Time Tuesdays as well. So I stayed back to handle all of that. I would still visit Atlanta over the years. I visited like maybe 3 or 4 times each year, like once a year after that. But so I stayed in Baltimore. I enrolled in grad school in 2015. I went to grad school part-time, still work full-time. Now graduation was coming up and I just had this weird feeling, like I just felt so uncomfortable. I'm just like, I gotta do something different. I felt like I wasn't growing anymore in Baltimore. I felt like I was just in the same cycle of what I had been doing and I needed something different. I felt like I needed to grow. Also too, I felt like I had gotten into a lot of my trouble in Baltimore, so it was a lot of dark memories that I'm not gonna say I'm running from, but I just needed a change of environment, and sometimes you need that to grow, and I can say for me, I definitely needed that. So anyway, back to this. So graduation is coming up and I'm having this uncomfortable feeling. I'm like, I need something new. It was around retrograde time, and y'all know retrograde, it can have you feeling pretty, a little off. I felt a lot of off. It was my first year actually paying attention to retrograde and actually understanding what it was. And I was like, oh shit, like that explains why I feel crazy as fuck right now. So this uncomfortable feeling kept coming back during retrograde, and I was like, I want to move. I am tired of being here. I want to move. I had made a status on Facebook about it, and I said, you know what, maybe it's retrograde, you know, I don't know. And you know, some people gave me some feedback, like, you know, if you're feeling like going away or going to somewhere new, go ahead, do you. Some people said, you know, yeah girl, wait till after retrograde to make it mind up. So I had kind of put that idea to rest for a while. Leading up to graduation, I had started saving money for a vending machine business. I wanted to start a vending machine business. I had been working in property management, and I just saw how lucrative little businesses are. Like, you know, a cleaning business, a turn company, a vending machine business. So I wanted to start a vending machine business, and I have been saving money for that. Leading up to graduation, I just kept thinking more and more about moving. May 2018 comes. Me and my girls, we go down to Jamaica for a celebration. Shout out to Sally and Kristen. We had a ball. Maybe about 6 days after I got back from vacation, I got into it with a resident through a verbal altercation. He was upset about his maintenance not being taken care of, and it was not my job to take care of maintenance, y'all. I was not the maintenance coordinator. I was the resident relations coordinator, okay? I was trying to help him out. He won't try to listen to me. It was a back and forth thing, and after a while, I lost my cool. Just gonna say that. We had some words, and it was brought to my attention by my property manager at the time that there was a rumor going around upper management that I may be getting fired. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna just put my 2 weeks notice in. 2 reasons. Number one, if I ever wanted to be rehireable again, I didn't want that to be like the last thing they remembered me by. And number two, I was living on a property that the company owned. So the rules were, if you get fired from the company, then you have to vacate your apartment within 2 weeks. If you quit, then you just lose your employee discount and pay the regular market rent. So I was cool with that. Take me back to market rent. Whatever. Just don't put me out in 2 weeks. I put my 2 weeks notice in, right? And I knew I didn't want to be in Baltimore anymore. I knew that, you know, I have been feeling this feeling for the past few months at this point. And I had went on vacation, had a great time with my girls, came back, lost my job / quit my job, whatever you want to call it. I was forced out. Shit, whatever you want to call it, okay? So I was just like, you know, I got this money to start this business, but I don't want to be here. I do not want to be here. So why am I going to put this money, this time, and this energy, and this effort into building this business in a city that I'm tired of being in? I had finished grad school at this point. I didn't have any kids. I didn't have a man. So why stay, right? So boom. I started looking for jobs in Atlanta. This was about July. And I started coming down for interviews in August. Now from July to August, I wasn't really getting any type of feedback from sending my resumes out because lo and behold, I didn't have an Atlanta address on my resume. I still had my Maryland address. So my friend Audrey down in Atlanta, she had told me, hey girl, use my address because yeah, they're not gonna hire you. They're not gonna call you for an interview because so many people are trying to get to Atlanta. Which makes sense. So cool, I used her address, right? I used her address, started getting calls left and right. So I'm coming down here to interview with jobs. And as I'm on these interviews, we're talking, it's going great. You know, they're really loving me. They get to the question of, when can you start? I was a little naive. In my mind, I'm like, well, you know, I can start in 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks, I can start. I just got to get my stuff down here and I can start. In their mind, they want somebody that can start now. They may call you back in 2 days for a second interview, so you gotta be ready. And it was like as soon as I said that I was transitioning to Atlanta and I was not yet here, it was like, you know, offer off the table. They didn't even want to continue engaging with me because most jobs need somebody to start right away. They don't give you that grace period because it's very competitive down here. So I was still going back and forth between Atlanta and Baltimore, Baltimore and Atlanta. Still applying for jobs, still trying to land a job. And also I would use that time to look for apartments as well. I still had my apartment in Baltimore. We're talking about September now. And my lease was over September 30th. So I'm over here sweating bullets, y'all. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm almost out of my lease and I have no place to go in Atlanta. I don't have a job. What's gonna happen? September 30th comes. It's time for me to move out. I pack all my stuff up. I put it into a storage unit and I'm hopping around staying with my friends and my mom and my aunt in PG County, Maryland, because a lot of my friends are in Baltimore. My mom and my aunt, they live in PG County, Maryland. So I'm going back and forth. I was just real uncomfortable. I was just real uncomfortable doing that. And I didn't really have a reason to do that except for not having a job and not having an apartment. And I felt like those were excuses for holding me back. So it was about the 5th or 6th day of me hopping around from friend to friend's house. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna just pack up my shit and go. I got enough money saved up. Why am I being scared? I'd have been broke before. I have family that's not gonna let me just be out here starving and without. I have friends that if I need something, hey girl, can you cash out me, Venmo me, PayPal me, Zelle me, something if I'm asked out. So the way that I found my apartment was I looked at apartments in the areas that I had already looked at while I had been going on job interviews back and forth from Atlanta to Baltimore. So when I made the decision to move down to Atlanta the weekend that I did, I just simply went online and looked up apartments in that area. And so I found the complex that I'm in now. I was thankful. It was within my price range. It was in the area that I wanted. Thankfully, once I got down there, the pictures matched the description. And I just went ahead and came. I packed up my car with my dog, and I packed as much stuff from my storage as I could. I drove down. I came down October 13th. I signed my lease, and it was just me in my apartment with my air mattress and my boxes and my dog's cage. And I cried for about the first hour because I was just like so overwhelmed. Whew. Got a little teary-eyed, y'all. But I was so overwhelmed because I was just so happy. I was happy. I was nervous. I was scared. I was just overwhelmed with emotion. And I took my ass to Papados and I got some food and I talked with a few people at the bar and had me some drinks. I came home and I just sat in my apartment. I watched something on my laptop, I think. I called my friends, FaceTimed them and stuff. And I just sat here and reflected, man. I just wrote in my journal and I just reflected about how many years I had been trying to get down to Atlanta and all the things that had gotten in my way and me getting in my own way, and I just was overwhelmed. But I still didn't have a job. I still didn't have a full-time job. So I talked to my friend Camille in Baltimore, and I was talking to her on the phone one day, and she said, you know, why don't you try to do Zifty? I see they got something down there called Zifty. It looks like it's something like Uber Eats. So I was like, okay, let me see. Checked it out, and it seemed pretty easy to sign up for, and it was. I signed up for it that day. I went to orientation the next day, and the same day as orientation, I was out delivering food. It was something to get some money in my pocket, so I was like, all right, cool. I still had my savings, but I just didn't want to run through that, so I had to make sure I still had some money coming in. After about the first week and a half, I got a job working part-time at Perimeter Mall at the Lower Mercier counter, and I stayed there for about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. But I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. I've done retail for a long time before I got into property management, and I've done retail at the makeup counter for a long time, and I wasn't feeling it. I love doing makeup, don't get me wrong, but I like doing it on my own terms at this point in my time. Before I quit though, I had an interview for the full-time job that I have now. No, this is how I knew it was time for me to quit. I was on a roller coaster of emotions. I was happy, I was sad, I was missing my friends, I was a little nervous, like what's gonna happen with my job and my money situation? Am I gonna find a job? Am I gonna run out of money before I find a job? What's gonna happen? And I had gotten a text message on my Apple Watch, and so I was replying to it on my cell phone, and the counter manager, she asked me if I could put my phone away. Now I know you're not supposed to have your phone out on retail, yes I know, but I, you know, put it beside the computer and slicked it down, whatever. I told her I was taking a 15-minute break. I never came back. That was maybe like that Thursday. Thank you, Lord. I got a call that Monday that I did get the job for the property manager position. That total process was about 3.5 weeks, maybe of 3.5, 4 weeks. Yeah, 3.5, 4 weeks was that process. So it was one of those things. Yeah, I have a plan. I'm gonna save this money. I'm gonna go find a job, and once I find a job, I'm gonna go get me an apartment right where my job is, and you know, all of that. But my plan didn't go that way. I felt like I was wasting time by saying I need to have a job before I go. Now, I'm not gonna say you don't need a job before you go. That's not what I'm saying. But in my situation and in my case, I felt like I could do it. I knew at that time how much money I had saved up. I knew what my plan B was gonna be if I did run out of all my money. I didn't allow myself to get to that point because I found little hustles like with Zifty or with working a part-time job, and I made it work from there. So I decided to share my story with y'all today because, like I said, I have been getting a lot of questions regarding how I moved, what did I need to move, did I have a job before I moved. So I just took this time to go ahead and try to answer what I could. I'll make a video as far as my transition into Atlanta or how I'm growing in Atlanta later, but right now I just wanted y'all to know how I got down here in the first place. If y'all have any questions, like I said, drop them down below for me. Send me a DM, send me an email. If you don't take anything else from this video, please just take this. Plans change a million times. It doesn't matter if you think you have everything planned out to the T. It may not happen that way. Just don't beat yourself up. Just keep going. And like I say, for me right now, I'm in this stage where I'm moving with my head down. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing, okay? I don't know. But I know that God don't want me to stop moving. I'm in this weird space where I'm just following the whispers that I hear. I'm following my gut and I'm following my spirit. If it doesn't feel right for me, I'm just like, I'm good. So I like to say I'm moving with my head down because I don't necessarily know where I'm going or what exactly that I'm doing. But I'm just listening to the whispers and listening to my gut. So follow your gut. Follow what you think is best for yourself. Yes, you can get advice from others, but don't let their fear deter you from what you need to do for yourself.